Other camera. Oh. All right. Camera going. There we go. Some stuff around. Okay. Oh, what? Lower than recommended. Just setting it up. Excellent. Okay. Then I'm just gonna input option. Like mini. Perfect. They will all be I don't know. Start off with Q&A. Okay. Okay, hold on. That's working. Cool. Right. Or add a camera. Oh, sorry. Anyways. Okay, well, we'll slow down work. more time to stream some stuff. We were doing light roasting yesterday. So far, those results are pretty good. Actually, I really enjoyed the light roast we did by plateauing it. Basically, instead of doing the standard declining ROR that we're all kind of accustomed doing from just past roasting, we're doing like just plateau. So just imagine you're roasting, and then you kind of just instead of having that nice declining curve, you kind of just keep it at keep it like right wherever you percentage of heat you at it. Just keep it there for maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes. Drop it after a certain phase, and you just keep it on that steady lamp set heat percentage. Then you drop it a little bit more during after first crack. So been doing that. I'm getting a lot of good results with light roasting, at least with it. 250 grams. This style that which people are kind of roasting. So I think Val, Haha Sky, some other people tried it out. They had good results with light roast. Not so much with dark roast or medium roast. Those are a little bit better, higher. Some people started like percent or something like that. So I think a continuation of that. And I think I have a few units on herb. I got 4 weeks. We'll start off with one of the kind of came in a really dilapidated looking condition, so I'm gonna go get that box real quick. We're just gonna see how well it runs after it shipped to me in this kind of incredibly terrible state. Pull this V1 out. This one I'm shipping out. I got another one for somebody else. This is a V2. I'm waiting for the next high beam update to come, so I like help show everyone how to get their V1 on work. Got like a little iPad mini just so we could work on that. And I've been using the Cafe Logic Nano to do more light roast, just to make sure I'm staying. At least I know all the different kind of roasters. I'm on the right track. And I got my got a grinder that I use for roasting specifically. And that's just to grind it up and get it onto my heater, or what's it? Roast meter that I put down somewhere. We'll find it later. Okay, I did it, but it's okay. I'll move this out the way. This V2. Anyone has questions, concerns, want to ask something, learn how to do something, let me know. And try to kind of show you the kind of different V1s and V2s I return V2s kind of issues they're dealing. All right. So nothing excites me more than receiving a return in this box. The box that doesn't come with the Skywalker. This is the cheapest box you could get at UPS store. So it's the shittiest corrugated box you can. So I'm always excited when I open these up. I know they're going to be terrible state. Ah, yeah. So they ship it like this. Um, kind of done unprotected. Has no foam. I have a plastic bag. But yeah, this is the kind of state they usually come in upon return. They always send them in this box, and they always do this. Did it break? I'm pretty sure this broke. All right. This likely people likely they always send it like this with this in here, and the likelihood of you breaking the plastic on the inside is like doubles. But we got lucky. It doesn't look like the plastic that holds this is broken, so that's a plus. But right now, I mean, it's not too bad. It's actually not the worst shape I've seen them in. Oh yeah, well that is. Usually when I get these kind of boxes, yeah, the best kind of unboxing. This is actually not the worst. I actually had one with more packaging, and it looks like they punted it off the back of the UPS. So I can't complain too much because it actually came back in decent shape. Believe it or not, this is decent shape to me. So usually if I get them in bad shape and they're functioning, I do my best to. I run a program. I don't know why I call it a program, but I run this little fun thing I do where I just like ask the person who wants to try it out to just send me the money for shipping, and then I just kind of send the machine over and see if they like it. And if they like it, I tell them to purchase one and then forward it to the next person. Like if they decide to go with the M1 instead, it's like, oh, this is not my boat. Then I'm gonna just ask them. Then okay, then give it to someone you think who would enjoy roasting. Basically, it's like a free unit. But functionally it works, but on the outside it's kind of beat up. I call like the roasted forward program. For people who like want to get into roasting but don't know exactly where to spend their money at. So I offer that too. But this one actually came in good shape. It's not too bad, so I'll probably just sell it at usually my $300 price or whatever. If I get a more beat up one, then I usually try to sell it. Not sell it, but just ask you to pay for shipping. Okay, plugging that in. Like always, first thing you do is plug in this, see if it's working. And I try to guess if it's going to be E1 or E3 for the first error code. So the usual two error codes. Okay, no error code, so that's a plus. Now we got to see everything else is kind of fun. I'll put it to cool. Cool is basically on the remote. Cool is the bean cooling fan. Then preheat the next. Motor's loud, which can be fine. If you look on the inside, it's actually oh, you can see it down. So you can tell like that's working. Now I'm gonna just test out if it's if the bulb is working. Okay. You can say kind of can see it dim a little bit or increase. That's good. It only moves in factors of 5. So. I just check if I could go from 0 to 100, and I think 0 should turn off, or at least 5 should turn off. Okay, 0 is off. That's fine. Now it's just the fan. sometimes you'll see like little chaff come out. Um, but sometimes if sometimes I can't hear it or the drum is too loud. Um, I might use a tool to kind of see if it's working. But you could just put your hand over it, put a tissue over it. Feeling real special, you can get one of those anemometers. I have one somewhere. I just don't know where I put it. But I usually use that to test the CFM. You don't really have to do that. You just get a tissue and just see if it's off. And sometimes this actually, another thing that you could do is put a tissue over it and see if it sucks it in. Because sometimes they wire it incorrectly. What I mean by wire it incorrectly, they have it on the wrong end, so it's not blowing air out; it's sucking air in. And you'll see that when let me turn this off. So when that happens, see like if you finish a roast and smoke comes out, but you have the fan on 100 and you can hear it, more than likely they might have wired it incorrectly. So you just have to like depin the fan and pin it in the direction, with right polarity. Because if you put it on if you put it on plus minus one way, it'll go counterclockwise, and switch the wires around and go clockwise. So yeah, so that happens sometimes. It hasn't happened in I don't think I've seen someone have that happen for like a year, but it does. This actually looks like it's gonna roast, so that was easy. I showed a million times how to get high beam onto have the instructions online. So if anyone wants to know how to put high beam onto an ESP32S3, there's definitely a guide for that. Okay. So I'm trying to frame this as like my first roast with machine. You get it. What are the things I should do and think of? Just get familiar with it at first. One of the biggest things people should get familiar with is the this part. Making sure that this is out and open. Making sure this is closed. And get in the habit of like just closing it a single time. Because most of the time when you first roast, you're going to forget it. You're going to just leave it open and the beans are going to fall right. Or you'll close it and you don't lock it, and it'll keep turning and turning, and then you'll like notice beans are kind of popping out a little. So that's one of the big things. Make sure that's closed. You just close like when you're roasting, this whole unit is not sealed in the inside like it would be Kaleido. A Kaleido is sealed because it's a convection roaster and it wants to retain that heat. This one has a lot of tack welds, and just like it's not like properly, like it's not completely welded on certain spots. So you have air coming in and out. And it's not that, and that's kind of like the design of the radiant heat roaster. We're not really shooting for convection. We're doing radiant heat. We're sending infrared wavelengths to the bean, and that's kind of heating it up by absorption. So, um, still need to have these things in place. Your trier and your beam card. If you have this out, sometimes it'll really heat everything inside, but be kind of cool in here. So probe isn't like the same temperature all around, and it can actually throw off the thermostat. The resetable thermostat will go off, and then you can't start your ways. So those are the main things. If you're roasting for the first time, and you don't have a nice exhaust area, always try to do it underneath like the kitchen range. I would recommend. Or if you decide to um have some kind of exhaust system, you can use the chimney that comes with two chimney pipes, which I think is pretty generous. And you could use that, or if you're truly desperate, you'll get at least 2 to 3 roasts before this chokes, starts ruining your roast. As you could use this. I don't recommend using it after like second or third time because this literally just the filter just clogs up and you're basically choking your keeping that smoke in there. It only takes like 2 or 3 roasts before this you kind of see the effect. And the roast, this builds up the filter builds up all the chaff and the dirt gets in there. So now you're affecting consistency, not having the same exact airflow. Not exhaust not letting out as much uh of the smoke and everything like that's not coming out. And it just clogs up. It's not a really great design. It's pretty basic. This fan doesn't really do much. Um, Honestly, you're better off just like there's these people like at least take the filter out. You get a free fan that you could like have boost air out into the hood. Also, this gets really hot, and and it warps the plastic. Yet again, another design. But it comes with a free fan, and then there's a 24 volt port that it connects to, and the only thing that does is just modulate. I think voltage, not amps. It would do voltage for so instead of like 24 volts to the fan, it would 12 volts, 8 volts or something. But check polarity before you plug anything automatic. Right. So I guess we could controller. A lot of people start off with the controller. Make sure you know what you want. You can change it from what everybody else does in the world. Hold on. Kind of finicky. And basic things there's time, you could adjust here, temperature. There's different profiles. Look into the manual of what profiles you would like to use. iBeam also has these profiles now too, if you want to use those ROR or those profiles. 22. Some people will tell you I like profile 23. I think that's a darker roast one. Whatever. But it's like it gives you the profiles you could choose. There's 1, 12, 13. And they're assigned to different kind of beans. A wash bean, natural. Um Supposedly some people have really good results with it, and some people it just says it just to roast the charcoal. So be wary of that if you decide to use the automatic, but they'll get you a decent roast. From what people are telling me on Facebook. All right. So there's two things. The two things we change on our roaster: power and the fan. Never have power at 100. Well, don't use that when you feel like it's applicable, but don't leave it at 100 preheating because that's just killing the lamp even faster. So just increasing the life expectancy. And the lamps are known not to be of the highest quality. Some would call them shit. Um, Get maybe like here, and I think it goes down to almost 6 months if you preheat it at 100. So what a lot of people do, like I can't control it; it just goes to 100 automatically when you preheat. Just drop it down to Sometimes the spring gets kind of funky. Anyways, sorry. Sometimes there's springs in this, so if we open this up, um, it's set up with like a little contact pad and a spring and touches. It does that. That's their kind of touch. Um, and the big issue is people say, oh, I can't control my roast because of that, because the springs aren't contacting whatever surface. to register as a button press. You end up doing a lot of this and nothing happens. So if I were to start preheat again, see how it goes to 100? You could drop that down to. And if you do get a lot of those mispresses where it's like I'm pressing it, nothing's happening, just give it like a little tap. You'll get those springs kind of like in quality here, right here. Then of course you have time. And then this also displays ROR, like every once in a while. It's pretty ridiculous. If you want to like monitor ROR, it's like okay, 10. That's cool. Um, eh, that's about it. Um, I recommend if you want to keep using this, read the manual. There's like automatic mode and hand like assist mode. That this follows kind of program. Not 100% sure. And then yeah, here's like the profiles. Use 11, wash or barrel one, and then wet hulling honey pulp for light. You pick profile 30. From what I gather, people really like 20. I'm like, anyways, and that's just kind of how you would get started on the. Like I said, read the manual. Kind of like, I really don't use those buttons. Still use good old high beam. These setups for about so I'll roast with this. Someone asked a question about how do you drum motor from to V1. Question. Go find a open. Oh. Switching. All right. So a few things before you switch from a V1 to a V2 brushless drum motor. One of the big things. Let me go over what the motor looks like. Top here. Reason why I've been kind of like doing the brushless modification for the drum motor is simply because of been like this. I'll kind of show you why people are switching out of the V1 motor to like a V2 brushless. So we have here, this is the inside of a V1 motor, okay? I want you to notice a few things when you look at it. You'll be in awe that they sell these for 14. They're kind of pretty, they're good motors. Like I'm really surprised at how long they can last, all things considered, especially when people put them through these crazy trials of 170 kilograms worth of beans that they'll toss in back to back roast, and somehow, some way, still survives. And one of the main things that it survives is the plastic gear, right? That's the thing that's of all the issues. This plastic gear, plastic. So what happens when plastic gets heated up? It gets soft. What happens if you add more torque on this on this drum motor, eventually it's going to strip the, show you here. Now, a normal motor, it doesn't do that. That's the main, that's coming from that's the main drive of the motor, and this is the gearbox. The motor's actually spinning this spur gear, and it spins this. That should turn that. Hell, the gears are stripped on. Should look something like that one. Instead, putting extra torque on it to get that happening. See how this gear's not moving? Because it's plastic. I'll pull it out. And just right there, I don't know if you could see that, but that's kind of chewed up. Chewed up all to hell. And this will happen when your motor gets soft enough, when it reaches like 80C plus. That's when it starts to really soften up. And then that kind of really destroys the gear. We'll put this back. So let's talk about, like, okay, that's fine. So of course, maybe the V2, they upgraded the motor to prevent it from here. You shouldn't be able to turn this like that when they're meshed in together. If you're on the flat, literally just, it can't contact. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we'll grab this motor, this drum motor, and this is the V2. Of course, it solves all our problems. Nothing wrong, right? So nice hulking 8mm shaft, double cuts. If you want to know all the fancy, go for it. It's a brushless motor with the driver in, so of course you don't have to have an external driver like that. Like if anyone's ever used this quad car, they have like PSCs control the speed of the motor. It's the same concept as that, but now they just kind of miniaturized it, put it in the body. And yeah, so now you get, instead of having the 2 wires, because you just add 24 volts to this, and this will turn at 60 RPMs. Now have 4 wires. These 2 wires are 24 volt and ground. This wire in the middle, I think blue is PWM, then yellow is direct, plus a certain voltage. If it's like 3 volts go through here, then it'll go in one direction. If there's no volts, it'll go counterclockwise or something like that. And where all the motor controls happening is at the PWM signals here. So you could literally put this on an ESP32S3 PIO pin, and it'll PWM it to go a certain speed. And there's code for that on the Discord if you really wanted to do it that way. But I'll show you the other options to wiring it. But of course, this is the one that comes for the V2, right? Take this out. They call this a worm gear drive. This whole gear, like a worm. What we have here, this is the gear train. Of course, if you pull this gear out, inspect it further, it is made of plastic. So, I don't know, comes up with like design of this. Yeah, people are having the same issue. It's gonna like cause a, and it's on the drive gear too. That's gonna cause the melting's gonna happen because these motors easily get over 90 degrees Celsius. You don't cool, and actually at 80 degrees Celsius, the motor slows down and eventually shuts off at 90. So a lot of people notice that, like, oh, I think my motor I think it overheated. My motor's broken. It worked again when it cooled off. Well, that's because the driver limits itself to about 80 Celsius, and then it kind of slows down. Once it hit 90 degrees Celsius, it turns off. So kudos to them. They kind of figured that part out, but it's still have a good chance of tripping. I've gotten it as high as 100 degrees Celsius. 111 was the highest I got it without a fan. So that's what kind of slowed down getting a V1 motor, get V1 motor into a V2. So, but that's not the only option in terms of motors. Yet you could order a special one, JG2838. That's the one that has the metal gear in it. But yeah, you got to do certain things to get it work. This aside. And I'll bring this one out I've been working on. The hardest part about trying to add a modification to the existing system is making the modification for the, like, you don't want to make it incredibly hard where it's like, fuck this, I'd rather collide it, which most people do. You don't have to deal with this. But people, certain situations, they may prefer modding their units. Not everyone has money to toss around like that. So this is kind of the simplest way to do it. Was my all right. Okay. So first you got to get a motor. Out. We'll use this. This is the brush counterpart. So this is 24 volts, so 90 RPM. This will die in 4 to 5 months because of heat, and eventually you won't be able to do like 300, 200 feet going. But so to get this motor working, you got to get the brushless version. This is the brushless, and then you got to get this map. I think the DXF file is somewhere. If it's not somewhere, then I'll have to read because I lost my Fusion 360. But there's a DXF file. If someone wants to print it out and put it on like metal and just drill the holes. It's really just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 holes and a big hole. Kind of got them out. Thing though is, if you get this motor third party, it's more than likely going to be a 6mm variant of the shaft, which is a single cut. Usually it's a single cut 6mm. So we had to find another way of getting that motor on there. Easiest one is using one of the couplers. Put a coupler on here, put 2 set screws, set in the 3 nut. This cost about like, oh, like I bought a bunch. Buy like, and I could. But anyways, got the plate, motor. Biggest thing now is now you have to control the motor. So like other people have done, they've done PWM through ESP32S3. You could use the code that's somewhere, or you could just buy one of these $5 PWM controllers. Do it this way. You can actually still use the controller, control the motor, will turn on. If you do it like the ESP32S3 way, it actually just, as soon as you turn it on, the whole unit on, it'll spin at RPMs right away until you have the PWM or pulse width kick in, roll it. I just thought it was nice. Roll it man over here, and I don't have to do code. I just put this on. It's pretty much good to go. I just got an eye. With these units, they come with 5 wires, 4, because they because the manufacturer decided to snip this. This is a hall wire. Kind of detects how much RPM is going, or just the amount of rotations that occurs, and kind of try to count. I didn't mess with it because I tried doing it where I'd keep it at 50 RPM constant, and decided just to leave that out and figure a way to calculate RPM. I left that alone. Go to zoom into the. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to try opening up the and then. Of course, I got it. All right. So the drum motor has 4 poles pretty much mounted. There's a regular motor. I'll show you the regular motor. Very important that if you take the ground cable off, this green cable is the ground cable. Very important that you want to pull a Santoker, have the case electrify you. There's a Reddit. The case of the Santoker was on me. Kind of dangerous. So remember, don't lose those 4 screws. Here, this got just these M3 nuts. Because those 2 will kind of fit into this slot. See where that double cut slot, 8mm double cut slot goes into here. But the 6mm, it'll go in, but it'll keep rotating until it makes like until it like softens up the suddenly not flat anymore. You'll have the M3 kind of hold it in. Still got to make the guide for this. Okay. Yeah, like stainless steel, and just has to like basically fit into here, fit into that slot. Pretty much just screw it back in until they make a double cut 8 version available to the public. And here is what it normally looks like. Here to take out the kind of fit. Just something like that. Unscrew. And it's only 4 screws. Nothing incredibly. That's pretty much it. Would put this back on. Oh, there's usually that freely spins. Okay. There's a bean stuck in the drum that probably in the door. Because it should free spinly or free spin freely like this. Not like that. I'll rotate it. If you do have like if you'll know when you have a bad drum bearing when like you try to turn this, it's like either really difficult to turn or it won't spin free. It should spin freely. Not like spin, spin, spin like a bicycle one, but just be able to kind of like move free. Grease is kind of thin in there. So if you got the right grease, it's supposed to be like either Krytox, Super Lube has a indirect food grade grease, and then there's it's called FG1200 industrial grease. You'd put in there as well, and that's they say food. They can't say food safe. It's indirect contact. So indirect means within the vicinity of the food, but it's not like touching. In case you wanted to know, I asked the OEM what grease they use, and I got crickets. It's up to me. I would after it like melts. Eventually, it comes out. Yeah, that's how you would basically. Only thing you really need is just the mounting plate, the motor. Got a bunch. You replace the mounting plate, the motor, and you would just need a PWM or a PWM pulse width modulator controller board, either externally or you could use the GPIO pin. I've done that before. The only thing I don't like about it is it will spin as soon as you turn the machine on, and the drum is kind of. I mean, it's quiet, dead quiet. Kind of. I like the drum off for preference, I guess. Oh, I mentioned that. Another huge thing that you got to figure out is cooling the drum motor. Um, if you just kind of run it like that without fan, you could probably do one. You probably could do one roast and then one or two roasts back to back roasts, and then you gotta shut it off and wait till it cools down. The motor's gonna keep heating up until it reaches about Celsius. It'll start to slow, and then eventually, once it hits 90 degrees Celsius. Um, so if you want to keep going, or you want to just save the motor itself over time, because heat eventually kills them. There's no way around. You're gonna have to cool it off with either a fan, and if you look at my past V2 videos, the fan is literally on the coffin. They made some, I guess they made some holes on the coffin, kind of prop it up so it goes upwards. Cut a side off. It's if you ever look at it, you're gonna be like, this is why people buy Kaleido. No one wants to buy that kind of shitty setup for a fan. Um, but of course, I came up with a way to cool off the motor. I think a little bit better than the company way or the way that they do it. I'll finish this build later too. and I've ran about 4 or 5 roasts on it, and it is running solid. I won't say it's the pride and joy of the fleet. One of the more interesting projects I've done. All right. So this kind of got me be able to do everything I wanted. It wanted me to install the V2 drum motor. It got me able to uh, cool it off at the same time while keeping some other modifications in place. I just got to make more modifications to the file because things I wanted to add to it. Here is the sarcophagus coffin. We called it the coffin originally. Now here is the sarcophagus. Got the this is the same size fan that you could find in your filter. So if say you decided that the filter fit, you can pull that fan out and reuse it. Because eventually you'll get to the point where you're like, oh, that was a waste. But then at least they gave you a free fan. That fan basically right in here, stick out. So here's that fan. Basically put it in here and you slide it in there. Holes here so you can screw it in. Eventually we'll figure a way to get heat sets in there, but for now it's just they're just small holes that tighten it. And then that just cools this motor. You don't have to buy a heat sink. I bought a heat sink on because the fins to cool it off a little bit better. That's up to you. Probably gonna put heat sinks on. You have fan because the cool air comes from because that's pressed up against down here, and then it kind of draws in the air from the outside, which is the important part. Because if you draw air on from the inside, you're just recirculating hot air. That just cools this off, and then it just allows you to do more back to back. And I think it helps not kill the motor. And it's also still using the PWM controller. For this one, I added a thermocouple. My thermocouple reading, instead of it being EP, have it as a exhaust probe. Different way of have to do something else, but that's the way I do it. Then I got all this standard. I mean, this is just the little harness for you to hold another fan onto the heatsink, so that cools that off. And then this is the same power supply that the thing called the same power supply that the Kaleido uses. Similar to the W supply. They're pretty cheap too. They're about like $20. Then I have it running um this fan. This is like a huge server fan. To cool off my beans. It sounds awful. Love it. It cools my beans. I want to say 2 minutes now. At 450 grams. That's pretty good. But but yeah, the only thing is that this literally takes 30 watts. I left it go on full speed. The whole power supply that runs the Skywalker, I think, is only up to 25. Today, I probably would kill the system. So I put this instead. Alleviate that. So yeah. And of course, you have ESP2. Right in. Complete. Connect. And that's pretty much it. And this is just your standard V. Version 2.9. They first started their version 1. We're making. So yeah, and so you would normally start it like you would in a regular roast, except when you turn the drum on, the drum is either for a regular V1, it's either on or off, never like 50% on or off. And you would turn it on, and then you would just control the speed with it. That controls the speed. And you probably would adjust it over time too, because I think the motor still will slow down if it gets hot. Right now, with the fan on, doing full load, you have it like on for about an hour or so. Let's get up to. We'll see this with a load in, and eventually turn. But if you like do 1 or 2 or 3 roasts, it should be okay. I think with the heatsink, and I'll put another heatsink here. I think I'll probably. The only thing about doing testing is it's really hard for me to test because I don't want to spend all day back to back roast or other ways of roasting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Heat sinks are optional. Recommended if you do decide to go up with a setup, you would need just to print this case out, or you just get the old case and you mount a motor on top or a fan on top. You can't use this fan. You'd have to use it. I think they look at that would be the basic. Ugh. Anyways, I think I'll just put this. I'll put this file up now, just so it's out there. I'll make adjustments as I'll leave the. So it's a Fusion 360, a step file. If anybody wants to adjust it, make any changes. I better do it. I keep saying I'll want to make. Okay. All right. So what we'll go ahead and do is I'm going to roast on this. If it works okay. Back onto that next unit. And the upgrade will be like a video. Not a fully up. But if you find another way to cool off the motor, this is the only thing I could think of. I've done roast on this. The case is still intact. This is ABS, but I'm going to switch it to ASS case. ASA case. It's supposed to have better flash transition phase. It's too hot, but that's testing. I'll print out an ASA and let's put this away and get this roaster set up to be roasting, and then hopefully someone will purchase it. And then if you are on the fence about getting an M1, be doing like an M1 Lite, and then an OG. So let's go test this one out. I guess I'm time to roast on this, so let's roast on it. See if there's like an issue. There also could be weird. Look up high beam up. Sorry. Yeah, I guess if you have any burning questions. People ask me get the one that your significant other is happy with your purchase. Turn this on. Let's warm this up. I don't like this. I like the drum. I'm just gonna let it turn it off for now. Get back to that later. But I will turn the fan on to circulate air. Waiting for that update, Will. I'm waiting for. Oh, one thing, if you do first get your first unit, set up usually for Celsius first, most of the time. Sometimes the Skywalker gets a little confused. So if you do get a weird temperature, like it's 73 degrees Fahrenheit, you want it shows like 37 or something like that, you can always feel free to switch out of that by going to switching it to Fahrenheit. Okay. But I'm not gonna do this too. Switch this back to Celsius. Because I like Celsius. Everybody else is doing gonna mine has that safety. Okay. So now that this going, we're gonna warm this up. Let's go pick a bean. I'll go dark on. Burnt sugars, fermented berry. So there's a Kenya dry process Nairi Burimani. The dry process coffee packs intense sweetness and wild fruits. Fermented berry, cider, vinegar, red punch, burnt sugars, cocoa notes underneath. One to sip and take in, rather go with goop. Sounds awful. But that's what we'll be roasting with today. I'm gonna go for a medium on this one. And I guess we'll try doing it try to take it to try something. Work on the plateaus. We'll let this warm up first. Oh. Let me turn on my DI flute. My airwave. So I put my airwave back here. Oh, one other thing you should be mindful is where your high beam is placed at. I'll see if I could do it with this one. Actually, I had one unit where I would tap this, and it would always reset. Here later on, but be mindful of what your EMI is, electromagnetic. They say you have to place this away from the unit, so I'll place that away. I'll kind of just drop it down there. And you just want to make sure that your this part right here, it stays at the. This kind of gives you an idea of how of the connection you have with your BLE, with your high beam unit. Yeah, this one seems to be working fine. I got really lucky on this unit. If you look earlier in the video, the box wasn't really a box. I'm a little amazed that it's working. And those are the automation rules. I think I have a video where I showed how people how to set their automation rules. You could do it several different ways. Ooh, sorry, probably good. And the new high beam update, it's gonna fix the 100% heater thing when preheating. That's another update that's gonna happen. Um, Update should be around, I think, March, whenever Chinese New Year's holiday ends. Oh, all right, hold on. I gotta show you this. So this is a one of this board. This is yeah. Look how hot that. I think that's the print that out in pretty wild. I think you have to cool that. That's a three. I want to say that. Lay down. That's not the regular coffin. Yeah, that's a ABS print. ABS print with definitely this motor. It doesn't have a heat protection, so you could set it to like 115. I'll melt it. Hoping he says Pet G. Said Pet G. Okay, you're in the if you're into 3D printing, Pet G is kind of like it's a higher temp filament, but I think it has a lower what's it called, the glass transition. So what that means, if something gets really hot, instead of like 80 degrees Celsius when it starts to melt, it might be like 70 degrees Celsius or 65. I think. ABS and ASA of the easier plastics to print out are up to 80 degrees Celsius, depending. I think ASA is like 85, 90, supposedly. Can't remember, but that's different types of filament. E- Okay, so whatever happened here, that's because it was made out of PET G. Depends on the type of PET G. PET G is a little bit lower quality. It might have a lower glass transition temperature. Still better than PLA. PLA probably would have melted crazy like that. Why keeps cutting out? Hello? Is that better? Sure if it's I tried setting up the mic on a different place. It's on a is it still cutting out? I'm on YouTube saying it's cutting out. I don't know if it's YouTube or Discord or I just moved the location. Maybe I'll bring it closer to my throat. Okay. Anyways, so yes, I'll say it again. So the picture up there, if you just tuned in, um, that's PETG. That's why Vorons aren't built in PETG. If you know anything about 3D printing, they use ABS or ASA, and just because of the heat creep and the better tolerating glass transition phase, and those motors right here, then if it definitely get hotter than 70 degrees Celsius. That's what would cause the melting right here. So, moral of the story is, I guess use ABS or ASA. I haven't had that issue yet on the units I've been working on, but I'm monitoring for that. I'm trying to avoid that, to be honest. I'm also trying to do. I'm hoping the fan cools it enough so it gets to the point where it just stays underneath that 80 degrees Celsius. Right now, the way it's set up with the heat sink, I think I could manage 80 degrees Celsius after like 2 or 3 roasts for V2. But I gotta do it, and that's what makes it so hard to release the files because I don't want to like have people invest that kind of money into the modification and it ends up not working as well. And it might be better to set it up with a 30 millimeter fan over the coffin to kind of blow air upwards into the motor. All right. So that's at 200 degrees Celsius. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. I'm gonna just drop these in. I'm gonna try to do a declining ROR because that's what people like to see. I definitely don't recommend it, but it is a way to roast if you want to. Yeah, let's give it a shot. All right, before we roast, make sure that's closed. I keep that door open now, just in case. And I actually gotta measure this out. I'm only gonna use 300 grams. I'm not doing 300 grams out of any kind of principle. I'm just doing 300 grams so I could have 100 grams go onto my Cafe Logic Nano. I want to set that up to a certain degree, like a certain medium roast or dark roast. I want to just compare the two. All right, so I'm gonna put the beans in here. They smell funky. What the hell? Oh my god. I don't know what that is. Hello, Stock Finder Buzz. Did Buzz Lightyear? Did Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond? uh, let's start this off. So 300 grams would be a good test if the motor dies. I'm trying to figure out what the issue was of why they returned it. So I'm guessing it's the controller not working. Right. Three, two, one, and charge. We'll try the declining ROR method today. So if you look at the background, we're not following that roast. That was a 250 gram test of plateauing the ROR. This would be a no-no in the world of convection roasters and conduction roasters, I think, like air roasters and things like that. But like I always reiterate, radiant heat roaster roasts a different way. You can't really compare convection way of roasting with the radiant heat roast. Someone says heat is heat and heat is applied the same way throughout, they're wrong. They're just wrong. Sorry. You have to convince me otherwise. Heat isn't heat. The different types of heat, different types of ways to do heat transfer. But the two biggest things people still use is time and temperature, monitoring how the roast is going. You usually want to decrease the overall heat lamp, like after. I think people do it like after the first phase. When they get into the Maillard phase, they might start dropping the lamp heat a little percentage a little bit, and definitely drop it like once during first crack, or as many times as you want during first crack. But you're just kind of mostly on a decline. And if you read books like Rob Hoos, they'll tell you like, oh, you should roast in this phase for a certain amount of time, and then like the drying phase for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then maybe the Maillard phase for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then maybe a 1 to 2 minute time in development, which is first crack, and then development's the next. That's the time it is in after first crack occurs. And usually sub 2 minutes is light, and I think like 2 minutes and 30 seconds it starts to get a little more medium. Maybe 2 minutes 15. It kind of also depends on like how much thermal momentum you got going. So for me, I for the first phase, when I was roasting, not trying to do this whole flat plateau ROR, but if I was just roasting normally, trying to do like the old way, I would always try to get out of the first phase as fast as I could, because usually it's going to take like 5 to 6 minutes. So I usually I keep it relatively high. I kept it always at 200 degrees Celsius as a charge, and then I would keep it to 75, 80, and then keep it as long in that phase until I got out into like the dry end. So let me see. Yellowings occurred, so I'm gonna hit DE, and I'm gonna start lowering this a bit. Fuck, I should have not lowered it that much. Oh well. And when you're roasting, for any of the beginners that are roasting for the first time, if someone tells you to mind flicks and crashes, just ignore it. It's not, you're not, don't worry about that stuff. The person who originally thought of that actually took it out of their curriculum. So Scott Rao doesn't even add really that notion of flicks and crashes. But it does come into play for flavor in certain cases. It's just hard to focus on things. Like if you automatically think your roast is done because you had a flicker or crash, it's not productive. The only real issue with the flicker or crash and you have a good roast, it's hard to duplicate. That's one of the reasons why people don't like them. So I'm reaching 180. So I've been adjusting the lamp and the air because I kind of want to stay in this Maillard phase for a longer period of time. So if I could get maybe 3 to 4 minutes, I'll be happy with that. But you'll also have people talk about 442, where they're doing 4 minutes in the drying phase, 4 minutes in the Maillard phase, and then 2 minutes in development. I already hear first crack. Nope, not there. I used to wait for 3 cracks. There it is, 3. Almost made it. All right. So now you're roasting and you're kind of feathering it down a bit. You kind of want to, if you're shooting for that declining ROR, you kind of want to slowly let it down. I'm thinking I'm gonna get this on for like 2 minutes. I think it should be a good medium roast. A little vinegary. I feel like there's gonna be a little sweat to this one. Right. That looks like a good medium. Then I drop it. Use your agitation stick to kind of get the especially the ones in the center. They tend to be the hottest. Then just kind of agitate it around, or you could kind of use this to shake it back and forth. Yo, goes bird. That was a little bit of a steep drop. I think I did a little. I should have staggered it more when I did the. Because I went to 60 and I was like, I should go 55. Should have went probably 70, 60, 70, 60, 55. If I wanted to do it like the way I used to like roasting. I've been big on this whole way that Val and Haha Sky has been showing people how to roast because I've been getting these like really good results from them. Mostly, I really like mellow flavors of coffee, like a mellow, not too like astringent or whatever. Whatever the word is for like that weird aftertaste sometimes that happens. Although this thing's kind of this bean kind of stinks. I don't know what bean I got. So fermented berry, cider vinegar, red burnt punch, Kenya dry process, Nairi Burramani. I kind of just went for it. Bit rate, audio 0. I'm not using an audio rate of 100 dB. I'll look at that later. I think the whole 250 gram thing is I don't know. I don't know how you would adjust to get the 80% of your drum. Well, I do. I have to test it out. I just don't want to. I'm running out of. I need to buy more beans. Is essentially what I need to do. I need to find a good quality light bean, like um, like this Ethiopia Guji Goro is really good. Um, uh, these geishas I got, they're okay. I bought like 10 pounds of it. I was doing a lot of testing, and I just got kind of the same vibe and feel. Just they're light, jasmine-like flavor. If you roast them medium, it gets a little bit more cocoa, but nothing to write home about. Density would be it too. Yeah. You know what I should get into is starting to measure displacement of water, right? The density. I think guys were talking about it in the stream or in the Discord about like Virtual Coffee Lab has a good example of how to do it. Pretty easy. I probably should do that. Like take that into account. I think I thought I saw you put that in there. But yeah, just measuring out density because if I don't know a bean, I'll just yellow it at 200 degrees Celsius and pray. Yeah. I really should. Okay. You're roasting for the first time, try it at 200 degrees Celsius, but don't feel like you're obligated. You could probably start at 190 degrees Celsius and lower. Heck, I'm starting at 165 on the light roast, and we're building it up, and we're getting good results. But if you know you have a high density bean and it's like it's pretty hardy, you could get it at 200 degrees Celsius. It should be fine. But if you're roasting like a more delicate bean, maybe you should start your roast off lower than like 180 maybe. I gotta see. I didn't even check if that Guji Ethiopia Guji is a high density. But yeah, one of the things it says on the when I was doing Val's approach or whatever we're calling it, I don't know what approach that we should call it, but yeah, I was trying to do Haha Sky Val's approach and they're talking about like how it keeps those the notes like the florality or whatever. But yeah, this one has literally says like lightweight overall, and that's exactly what it tasted like. Lightweight with a little bit of lemon. Half batch. Yeah, half batch approach. But it's more geared toward light roast. I haven't gone to the point where I extended it out into a dark roast. And it kind of throws people off because if you do 250 grams, what it ends at like the 13-minute mark. I think what did we end at on that one? I think it was like I want to say it was like close to the 14-minute mark and 13-minute mark. People automatically assume that it's baked. But I literally have it on my Cafe Logic Nano and I got one like 1 point off, so one's 86 and 187 on the Agtron. Where is it? On my heat meter or roast meter. So that was off by one. They're basically the same color, ground, same grinder, um, both same color. One was 13.3%, the other one was 13.2%, and it matched up taste by taste with the Nano 7. So that was kind of cool. Although it didn't happen, the Nano 7 finished it at a faster time, but um, but I feel like we got pretty good comparable results doing it that way using just a Skywalker. So I'm happy with that. I want to test that out with medium and then dark roast. But I want to keep it the same bean, and I'm running out of that geisha that I have. Like I think I'm completely out, so I'm gonna have to order like another 10 pounder of a light roast kind of bean. I'm kind of Ethiopia. I'm trying to look for those ones with like those blueberry notes because I had some from who sent me some. I think Cam sent me some from a while back, and like that was pretty fucking good. It was like strong blueberry taste. It wasn't fermented or anything like that, or any of those kind of weird I shouldn't call them weird, but different beans. But yeah, I think I want to try that with more. Uh, oh, also this Friday my M1 Lite comes in. Ooh, gotta look at what she sent me. Try that one. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna order a lot of that. Body. We could swap. Are you in the US? We could swap like different profiles and see if we like it. I got these small bags now that I'm gonna try to do a lot more swapping with people. Okay, so in the next few weeks, a lot of things are gonna happen. Um, you have 3 Ethiopias. The next 3 weeks, I'm getting more beans. I should get a 10 or 20 pound bag, but I just need to find a good bean. And then after that, the M1 Lite comes in. So I have an M1 Lite coming in, and I actually bought an M1, the original M1, for 500. So I got those two coming in. I'm gonna kind of compare them, and then I'm gonna eventually sell them. I don't need two M1s. I'm probably gonna sell the M1 Lite I'm gonna compare them with the Q Bean and see how that goes. Um, so yeah, M1 Lite's coming in on Friday. M1 is coming in on the 24th. I'll do kind of like a comparison. They should be exactly the same. But I just thought, when am I ever going to see a $500 M1? And it's mostly just on Artisan. So I'll compare those two. See how it goes. One of the biggest things I want to do is just to get iOS working on the Kaleido M1 and M1 Lite. Um, so applying what we got from the BLE bridge to, let me turn this off. This one has a really annoying motor. But applying what we learned from like the BLE bridge, adding that to the Kaleido so people can get access to Artisan and High Beam on iPhone and iPad and MacBook. That's a few of the things that are coming up. And then the High Beam release is coming out. I really don't like this motor. It's annoying. So, yeah, label, the label features. I love it. You can do a lot of with the cubing especially. I've been doing a lot of like different testing. It's just it's just nice remembering what it is and then slapping the label on. I have a habit of like pretending I'm gonna write something on it, and then I have like 4 bags of blank coffee bags that I have no idea what's on them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, was this bag or was this that bag? So now I got my Rolo, I got my Rolo printer on top that I print out the labels and I just slap them on, and then I use the QR code just to see what bean it is, and it's been super nice that way. Yeah, that's one of the best, probably one of the surprise features I didn't think I'd really like. I wasn't like too hyped about, and then I started using it, and I was like, this is a game changer. Yeah, it helps me out so much. I didn't think it'd help me out that much. I just wish they had an option to add like, I know it's kind of dumb, but add like your label, like your logo. I probably, but I really don't want to ask for too much. Um, what other features they add in? It's just been a surprise, fun app that gets better every single time I use it. Like I still use Artisan every once in a while, but I feel like it's just easier to use. A lot of minutes, not that much kilograms of. Mostly just testing. But yeah, it's just been kind of nice having this. Well, yeah. Well, every company they want their own high beam, right? So Kaleido wants their own kind of app. Bean Cafe came out with their own little Kaleido for their CBR 10301. I'm pretty sure Kaleido wants to have their own. You know, Roast Time is on the Bullet. They have their own little community. Um, it's just nice. It's just yeah, that's kind of how it's been trending. So everything has their separate own little app that kind of sucks in their own way, I guess. Like like the Gene Cafe, I don't think it's gonna be. It's really just for the three. It's not used for any other roaster like that. But High Beam at least it's kind of like roaster agnostic. You literally could just put a probe. Um, one of my this one time I was barbecuing a tri-tip and I forgot to charge my wireless probes, so I just used High Beam, connected it to the roast, and I just waited till it reached a certain degree, and I was kind of like, you could do so much things with it. Don't recommend doing that. I was desperate. Yes, bless Will. And so far he's trying to keep it to the point where no one's gonna have to really pay. He wants to keep it like low cost or no cost until and he wants to make most of the money pretty much I think off of roaster sales or dongle sales like Cubing dongle or the Skywalker dongle. So those are kind of paying for it. But at the same token, he's letting us use the community firmware. Um, he doesn't have to do that. We literally aren't paying anything. He's kind of just letting us do it that way for now. But roasters like Schmola, and he has another contract with somebody else. Probably, pay him for every roaster that they sell that has high beam on it. But eventually, they gotta start charging because I asked. Yeah, I was kind of curious. Super nice. He put a lot of time and effort to it, and he's just like, I don't know. I feel like we should donate money to him, but at the same time, it's still a business. They're probably figuring out a way to get their money back. Yeah. But I think there's going to be like he's going to eventually have to charge like per use, not per use, but per. No, he's based in. I think they're based in China. That's why they're off of on. They're on the celebrating Chinese New Year. So I should probably legit or legit whole roasting streaming thing is weird, but yeah. But the new update's coming up next. I'm thinking as soon as he comes back. His whole goal is just to get more people onto the platform, and that's what we're kind of trying to do is trying to get more users on the platform. But we can't exactly alienate iOS and Apple users, right? So that's why we try to find a way to get the V2 on to high beam instead of using their shitty SPP Bluetooth control module. Um, yeah. So just trying to get more people on it, and then hopefully that module will work out. Because there's a lot of people that still want to they want to use their iPhone. They don't want to get in. Then oh, and then the whole MacBook thing where it doesn't connect because of the Bluetooth, because it uses SPP, and I think it reads it as a Braille, or it does something weird. But um, that's been like an ongoing issue with Artisan that they can't fix. But we fixed it. Well, Bear fixed it. Bear implemented BLE bridge, so now if you have a MacBook Pro, you can use your V2. It's kind of nice. Is it the high beam Mac what's it called? The Mac app, or right? Yeah. Yeah. Because you have a MacBook. So you're using some people are telling me it disconnects for V2. I don't know. Like it flat out won't connect to my MacBook Air. Oh, you have a V1. Okay. Obviously the more superior one. I joke. Be happy with your V2. Yeah. Bear's pretty awesome. He's not this is not his day job. He's doing this all for free, and I feel bad because I'll be up at 2 and he'll be like, test this out, and I'm like, okay, and I'll run downstairs to my garage and I'll test it out. My wife's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are you playing with your roasters? Oh, I got a job. He did the I've been using for my MacBook Pro. I've been using MacBook Air. I've been using the BLE bridge to connect to the V2 to Artisan. I wanted to use Artisan, and it's been working. It worked out pretty well. You just can't do both of them at the same time yet. Until he figures that out. But yeah, basically, we're gonna take that BLE bridge and we're gonna put it on my thing. I'm gonna put it on the M1, and then I'm gonna see if I can make that. That's going to be the whole project for next week. And then once I do that, I'll probably sell off the M1. Is there a small the fucking okay, I'm done. I didn't measure out the size. I just looked at the bag on Amazon and I was like, oh, I'm gonna put a small sample of beans in here. This is not what how small. I wanted like I got these. I didn't measure it. That's my fault. I'm gonna return these. Thank you, Amazon. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna head out too. I gotta go. Um, if you want a V1, I got a few left. I got a lot left. This one will probably be on sale too. Um, it's working. I'm just gonna put the fan on and then add the high beam unit to it. Okay. All right. But other than that, thanks for joining. I'll be back tomorrow and we could do more. We could do more roast. I'll see. I'll try to set something. Just waiting for stuff to come. Anyways, join in. Oh, someone else. I just joined the video. What was the topic today? Topic today was kind of a beginner setup if you're using the V1. I always thought I was going to do repair on this. It actually works just fine. Somebody returned it because this thing right here is a piece of shit. The springs kind of suck. So you got to like tap it a few times and then the springs get into place. That usually fixes it. If not, you got to open it up, adjust the springs a little bit so they're touching the pad. It happened earlier in the video where I was touching it, nothing had happened, but you know, a few love taps and it'll get the springs. And then what else did we do? We talked about putting the trials and tribulations of putting a V2 motor in a V1 and the importance of cooling and why it's taking me so long to release it because I don't think it's there in terms of, I just want to be safe if I were to put like the coffin or sarcophagus thing that I made to cool off the motor. So that's one of the biggest things that I wanted to fix before I release that. That's but I think I just have to release it and let people figure it out because I can't. It's hard for me to do 4 or 5 back-to-back rows. That's the only kind of fix. But definitely you can roast 1 or 2 roasts back to back with it the way it's set up with a fan. Um, but what I wanted was will it melt the case if I do 4 to 5 roasts on a V2 motor set? And what's the most optimal fan placement? Pull off drum motor because it automatically shuts off like apparently at 80 or 90. Then we did a roast. I went, I want to say classic, but I went like the way I used to roast. Uh, I'm roasting a different way where I'm testing out plateaus with lighter roast. It's kind of my thing as of recent. Um, Someone will tell you like it has to be declining ROR. That's basically old information that we took from convectional roasting, and we just kind of added it in because we really don't know what the fuck we're doing. So more people are finding out that maybe a plateauing ROR is a lot better than a declining ROR when it comes to flavor in a light roast. And so far I've done 2, a geisha and a Ethiopian Ojai, Goro. Anyways, I did a light roast on those 2 and they came out fantastic. I did the Goji, I compared it with the Nano 7 profile and they taste exactly the same. They have the same Agtron score basically. One's 86, the other one's 87. And what else? Weight loss is basically the same, 13.3% versus 13. And they look exactly the same. No tipping, no scorching. They look the same and they taste the same as of now. I still got a few more weeks to test them out. Um, so yeah, that's with light roast. Did a dark roast with this, the traditional style. I want to taste it, see how it is. And then I'm gonna compare it to the Nano 7 roast when I get that. What else? What else other things? Oh, next week, there's gonna be a M1 Lite, M1, and a Cubine comparison video that I'm gonna do a stream on. I'm gonna have all three out, and then we're just gonna compare them and see which one's worth the money. I honestly think the M Lite kind of worth the money. It looks good. A good brand, and they're always known for quality. But it's just the whole 200-gram things for $699 when you could get a V1 for get a bigger, like 450-gram size of roast. People will compare and contrast both of them. Honestly, I think the M1 Lite is a pretty good option. Just looking at it, I'm gonna roast with it, see what I think about it, and then after that, try to add better high beam support to it. I think there's already support for high beam using the classic Bluetooth that it uses, but I want to adjust I want to adjust the BLE bridge to work with it, essentially. Get more iOS users on board with high beam. And also get MacBook users to be able to use the BLE bridge to connect to Artisan Scope without having to drop connection or use a USB 2.0 hub. And I think that's it. I probably should clean my house. My dogs are inside. They're probably sad. Anyways, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, let me know. I think I got a few more units for sale, so let me know if you want to purchase one. I got a candidate for a Roasted Forward roaster. So Roasted Forward is the program where if I get like a shitty unit physically, but it works functionally, like it still roasts fine. It just maybe has a huge dent in the front or a dent on top or there's a scratch or I don't know, this thing got bumped up in the front, so it's kind of ugly, still work. And I usually ship those out to people that want to get into roasting, can't afford it, or I haven't decided which roaster they wanted. I ship that out to them for the cost of, they pay for the cost of shipping and try it out. I just ask them that they don't sell it. And yeah, I definitely say they don't sell it and they pass it forward to another newbie person who wants to buy it. So if you decide to get a Kaleido M1 Lite, you could hand it off to a friend or something, somebody who else wants to be interested in roasting. And that's just to get more people to roast. Prices. If you want this unit, I think this is going to be like $350 with I usually put the mod for cooling the heatsink, and I usually add like a little I got a bunch of these and I'll add the high beam unit. I just don't send the cable because there's a variety of different cables, and if I purchase them in bulk, they're usually shitty, and I have issues. People complain, so I just usually send them without the cable. I test it with the unit, but then I make it you're on you to find a good cable for it. And yeah, so it's like $350 plus shipping. Hopefully you live in California, and then the shipping's only like $30. Where I think I sent one to Colorado, like. Although I sent one to Florida and it costed $40. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, if you're interested, I think my email's in there, but you can also find me in the Discord. Or email address. I think my email address is on my profile. Are you in Florida? Yeah. No, that's cool. That's fine. I like Florida. Yeah, it did cost $40. I sent it in like some Midwestern state. It costed me like $48 or $50, and I was just like, "What?" I sent one to Rhode Island, and that costed $60, and I was kind of surprised at that. Well, not too surprised. And then I tried shipping one to Canada, and they're like $300. Look, fucking crack. I must have entered something wrong. It wasn't you. It was somebody else. I remember because when I sent yours, the prices were decent. Recently, it's like I've been getting 58s. I think 58's the highest, and it was a Midwestern state. But then I did Florida a while ago, and it was 40, and I think that was pre-Christmas. I think the prices went up after Christmas. So yeah. Anyways, also if you just want to wait, because it takes me a while to get the units ready because I do a roast with them. Like this one, if I'm gonna sell it to Captain Craig, I usually do a roast. I put on I make sure all that stuff is functional. The only thing I add in is just the heatsink fan. It's kind of a safety. So I like to add that in, and you don't have to put it in yourself. And yeah, and it comes with pretty much everything else that was seen there. And then I usually I'll give you like a half of the batch of the beans so you can taste it. And just kind of see if you like the way that roasted, and you could look at the profile too and just judge like, okay, um, this is what I'll get, right? So you could look at the profile and be like, oh, I want to do a dark roast or medium roast or a light roast is what I've been kind of getting into recently. So I'll send you like a small bag, a small little green bag of it. So yeah, I'll send that with you if you want to taste it. Or I actually have some other beans too if you feel like you wanna try a green bean that's a geisha or something. I'm gonna try to empty out my geishas out because I'm really just I'm kind of done drinking geishas. It's just I don't know. I don't see the big point. I don't know why they're so fancy. Yeah, I'll send like a bag. Try it out. You tell me if you like it, and if you don't like the profile, let me know. And I'll give you the profile too, so you know exactly what you want to get. You roast that bean again. But yeah, my email address is on I think it's on the YouTube profile page. So just email me there, and then I'll get you set up. But yeah, but it's usually at $350, so it might be up to like $400, depending on where you live. So that part kind of sucks, but I get excited when there's people in California. I could send it as a cost, like, or they could pick it at my house. If you live in Northern California, you definitely could come, and you want to pick it up here, and we could roast together with it. And I don't want to say show you the ropes, but you could get your hands on, and if you like it, then you can buy it. If you don't like it, then you don't have to buy it. Then I roast with somebody. It's a win-win for me. I just can't roast at like 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. My wife has forbidden that. I'll still do it, though the airwave. That's how I ninja roast at night. Anyways, all right. Anyways, that'll be it. Let me know if you want the unit. If not, we'll let y'all go. If you have any questions, feel free to email.